Ooh, yeah. Guess who was back?
Right, folks, back again on the Caught Offside podcast with the White and Golo Conte Crusaders. What's happening, Rory?
What's happening, mate? All good?
All good, mate. Are you still taking over? What's the crack?
Still taking over, still training, still keeping my weekly schedule. Like, so strength and conditioning coach still sends through the exercises, the training sessions every week. Like, so may as well just keep on top of it.
Good man. We'll just crack on. We'll just get on it. So, first memories of football. What can you remember?
I remember back in the day, the Waterworks Sports Facility. I was just my man and dad had me and my wee brother up there from no age. Like, I think Ronan was 3 when he started up there, so I would have been 5. And just up there every day, like non-stop. Everybody knows who my dad is. Like, he had us out kicking the ball from straight after school until it got dark. Like, so it was just into us from no age. Like,
did you feel any pressure to be a footballer growing up?
Nah.
Obviously, your dad was decent, and then your granddad, Derry City and Dock Cruise legend. Did you ever feel under pressure or anything? No.
Nah, never. Like, it was just always go to football, out exercising, like, but it was never under pressure. Like, you get to an age where you start to think that you're good. Like, I think I got to about the Milk Cup, and I'd won the Golden Boot, and that's when all the trials started to come in, and you start to get a feel for it in the trials, and you're like, here, I have a shot here. Like, so there was no pressure from my family. Like, it's more pressure from yourself. Like,
who were you playing with growing up? Who were you involved with youth team wise?
I was Climble all the way through, like, believe it or not. But I had Dorothy as a manager from under 11, and he had me until I went to England. So at 16, and he had me playing for the reserves.
As I say, any trials when you were Climble, when you were growing up?
Across the water or for Climble?
Any at all. Anybody interested? Any team sniffing around you?
I went over. I travelled everywhere. I remember it was Newcastle for ages, Hull City, Sunderland, and then obviously Villa. But I'd done my ACL playing in the Victory Shield for Northern Ireland. I think that was under 16s, so I was out for a year. So
yeah,
when I was coming back, it was a start of the scholarships. I had like a month or 2 to try and get a scholarship, and a lot of clubs had already sorted out their scholarships for the following year. So the clubs that I was at on trial weren't really interested, except for Villa,
right.
Who, to be fair to them, they kept bringing me over when I was injured. Like, so they done their best to try and get me signed up, and luckily they did.
Yeah. How's that come about? Who's involved with Villa?
Thomas Turley, you know yourself, Ardon Youth Club. He was watching me from no age, and he brought me over when I was 14, and I had a really good trial. I think I scored like 4 goals, but he brought me over as a striker.
Right.
So now I ended up as a centre midfielder. So I actually signed for Villa as a striker, but the injuries I end up losing a good 2 or 3 yards of pace, like, so I had to keep dropping back down the positions. But they looked after me, and he looked after me specifically, like bringing me over to the matches and seeing their physios and all.
Yeah. So when you're eventually going to sign for Villa, does your mum and daddy go over with you, or just go over with Turley? Or?
Well, the day they offered the contract, there was the last game of the season against Man City. It was the last game to try and earn myself a contract, and we beat them 3-2, and I scored 2 of them. So my ma was over with me that weekend, so that was very good.
Yeah.
And then the whole family were over the day I signed, like, so brilliant memories, like.
And do you go over? Are you staying in digs, or what's the operation?
Went over and stayed in digs. I stayed in the digs the whole 4 years I was there. Like, it was brilliant. The first year struggled with homesickness, and I didn't have my clearance, and I got injured and all. It was just all the stupid stuff that put your head away. But once I got a good digs and a good roommate, I had Kevin Toner with me, one of my best mates now for life. Like, he looked after me. So I think the digs really helps because you're staying with a family, like, rather than staying by yourselves.
Yeah. And who's the first team manager at Villa at this stage?
Paul Lambert.
Did
Paul
you?
Lambert was in charge. So Paul Lambert, actually, he was okay with me. He didn't mind me, but he had a lot of coaches coming in, Stu Taylor, Roy Keane. There was just a lot of chopping and changing. Paul Lambert got sacked. Tim Sherwood came in. He gave me a few games in pre-season. He really liked me in the squad and all. And then Tim Sherwood got sacked. And I think it was Remy Gard come in. He didn't like me. So it's like two steps forward, 5 steps back. You end up back training with the under-18s. And then I think it was Eric Black. He didn't really rate me. And I think the next manager was Di Matteo. He didn't really fancy me.
Sounds like a revolving door, isn't it? There's some managers
it's like you do need a bit of luck in the game, like, and once you think your luck's coming, I thought my luck was coming with Sherwood in, but then again, it's football. It's the game we love. Like that's part. It is what it is. Like
part and parcel.
It is.
Are they still Premier League at this stage?
They're still Premier League up until Di Matteo comes in. So to get relegated the year Sherwood gets sacked. Right. Di Matteo comes in, and then he gets sacked after like 2 months, and then Bruce comes in, and I'm doing really well. Like I'm captain of 23s. I'm standing out every week. I'm training with the first team every day. I was in the squad a couple of times, and then I got released about 2 weeks to go to the end of the season. Like, so it was a tough blow for me because that day I got a text on Twitter and I was saying like I was nominated for the Barclays Premier League 2 Player of the Month. Right. So I had my best month of the season coming up to the contract negotiations, and then but there was, like he said, there were 8 or 9 centre midfielders ahead of me at the time who they had bought big dough for. Conor Hourihane, 8 or 9 million, Mile Jedinak, couple million. You've obviously got Grealish, Gary Gardner, the list goes on. Like they had Jordan Ferratuch still there, they bought him for 10 million. Carlos Sanchez was still on the books. He cost, so I was well behind in the packing order. Like,
so you think Steve Bruce would just keep you on because the two is their duck egg each other, but you're see when you're trying to break into the first team and you're training with him, like what's the training like?
As in Bruce or in first team in general?
Just first team in general when you're on the fringes.
So the first time I went up, it was when Sherwood was in charge, and it was brilliant. Like he gets on like he's one of the lads. Like you wouldn't actually think he's the first team manager. Like,
would he join in?
No, he wouldn't join in. No, but he would take. Like he had Ray Wilkins as his first team coach, who was absolutely unbelievable for young players.
Yeah,
I remember me and another young fella was up. He was only under 16s at the time, and I was in the 23s. And he made us stay behind after training for a half an hour and hit about 80 footballs with my left foot. And he wouldn't let me go in until I hit 5 in a row, as straight as an arrow. And I couldn't do it, but he just kept on making me do it on the weak foot. It was absolutely unbelievable. But once you get the first training session underway, it's perfect. The wee blip that you might get is when you have a bad training session up there with the first team.
Yeah.
And they're ruthless. Like they'll shout at you. They don't care. Like, because you're up there and you're playing 1 and 2 touch. And players are used to getting a feel for the ball, 4 or 5 touches. You take more than 2 touches up with the first team, you're getting crunched.
Yeah. Are you shitting yourself whenever you're going up? Do they just call you over?
So what we would do would be 3 different change rooms. So you would have the under 18, the under 23, and then the first team. So you would have the sheet up. So all the players would be with the under 18s, players with the 23s, and you would have it like minimum 2 going with the first team. Like, so you saw your name up with the first team, you'd be there 15 minutes early, ready to rock. Like you'd be already warmed up. It's some buzz. Like first day I had it. See, they have different training kits to the first team. So we would have like a maroon training kit while the first team was blue. So you would have to go and get the first team training kit and all. And it was great buzz. Like I loved it. That's loved brilliant. Every bit of it.
Yeah. And who saw, was there any big time Charlies like on the first team? Or were they all just like standards high, like obviously?
Standards high. they were always big time Charlies, like, but they were all sound. Like Charles Nzogby knew he was the man, like he was absolutely unbelievable. But he was a big time Charlie, like.
Yeah.
But they would still all talk away to you, help you out. There was none of them who would just blank you, like.
Yeah, good stuff. So, as I say, you're playing for the 20 Thieves and you're captain of 20 Thieves. You remember much about that? Just anybody you played against and that sort of thing?
We went on a really good run in the league, and what they do to win the league is to play a final at the end of the season. So whoever comes first will be home advantage.
Yeah.
So we beat Swansea in the semi-finals, and it popped up with a wee goal, a wee rare goal. Never really happens, like, but it popped up with a goal there. So we got Arsenal away in the final.
Right.
We didn't bring no first teamers. We played 23s the whole season, so we just thought, hey, we'll play the same team as the semis, and we got the Emirates, and I have a wee picture of it. I sent it to the boys in the group chat. We never knew that any of the Arsenal players, like, so we never knew what type of team they would have out, and had up on the big board in the Emirates, and there it was: Santi Cazorla, Joel Campbell, Reece Nelson, Colin Chambers. The list went on, and we just went, Jesus, what are we in for here?
Yeah.
We went 1-0 up and we just made them angry. We ended up getting tanked 3 or 4-1. Didn't get a touch of ball in the second half.
That's unreal. But fuck, that all first, like, class first team experience there, like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Especially
unreal.
Cazorla.
So I was up against Cazorla and Francis Coughlin in the centre midfield. So, like I say, you would get the ball and you might get 1 or 2 touches, and then bang, Francis Coughlin was on you, or Joel Campbell, he was rapid. He would be on you. So that was probably one of the toughest games I've ever played. Like,
Brilliant, mate. Class. So, just as I say, living in Birmingham, do you ever bump into your brother much? I know he's saying for Birmingham and stuff, but
we didn't for about the first year that he moved over, and then we started to link up a bit more after that. It was just, see, the first year of getting used to full-time football. Not even exaggerating, like, you would just go in, train, go back, eat and sleep. That's all you done for the first year. Like, there's no time to beat about going shopping and all. It's mad. Like, you're in training. People think you're in from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Like, first 2 years of your scholarship, you're in from 8:30 and you're not getting home to about 5 o'clock. Like, it's mental.
Right. And see, just, is there any coaches there who were good for you as Villa?
Stu Taylor was brilliant with me. Stu Taylor, he's first team coach at Ipswich now under Lambert. He was brilliant. He would always keep you after training and all, working on your weaknesses, working on your good stuff as well. Like, Mark Delaney, he's still there. I think he's under 23 coach now. He was brilliant with me. What was there? Tony McDonald, he was the under 18 manager who eventually got me signed. He was really good with me, but he's retired now. So a lot of good one-to-one coaches are, like, really good.
Brilliant. So in the midst of all this, you're trying to break into first team and stuff. You're getting involved with the Republic of Ireland underage squad. You remember much about that?
Yeah, I had played Northern Ireland up to under 19, and then you start to you make a decision for yourself, because I think it was 16, 17 when I tried to make it, and basically the whole clearance of trying to get through UEFA and FIFA and all was a nightmare. So I didn't eventually get it done. That was about 20. So it was like 2 years trying to get that through, and I was getting call-ups, but it couldn't be an official call-up because you're not cleared to go and play. So I was called up for a tournament in La Manga, and this was just before the European qualification. So if I went over there and done okay, I'd be in for a shout for a start for the qualifications, and the clearance didn't come through. So I ended up playing about 2 games for the 21s all in, but that's just because the whole process took so long. Like, but first call up was against Kosovo in the European qualifications, and had a great team. Like, don't know how we never managed to qualify. Like, we had Josh Cullen, who's a Charlton, he's starting regularly from West Ham. Declan Rice, big Ronan Curtis. Team was Kieran O'Hara from Man United. So team was brilliant. Like, great memories.
Yeah. Who takes that? Who was taking that team at the time?
Noel King was in charge. He has been in charge for the past, I'd say, 10, 15 years. Like, but Stephen Kenny took over after that qualification era. We really should have qualified. Like, to be fair, I think we were top of a group with 3 games to go, and we drew out in Kosovo. We got beat by Israel and then got beat by Germany. So we should have qualified. Like, to be fair.
It was in your hands.
Oh, I was straight away.
Right. So as I say, it ends up Steve Bruce lets you go, and he does sort of leave it late. So what's the process there? Once he tells you, listen, that's it for you, we're not giving you a new contract. What's the process from there on?
Well, he had said to me that, like, there'll be a lot of clubs coming in for you, under 21 international and all this, but that's not the reality of it. Like, it's like there's 2 weeks to go of a season. Who's going to take someone who hasn't any 13 games under their belt, competitive 13 games, regardless of how talented they are? Like, so, I had tried everywhere. I had a friend to try to get me into West Brom. I went to trial with West Brom. That was completely pointless. Like, it was just a waste of a week, more or less. I went to Cambridge and played against Norwich. Couldn't have asked for a tougher game. Like, each got started straight from the start. And I was up against Naismith. Cameron Jerome was up front. So we had lost 3-0, and I actually had a decent game. And they asked me back on to play another game on the Tuesday, but it was booked in somewhere else for an hour trial, so I had to go to that. It's just what the agent's telling you. Like, so I'm not getting the wage, so I'm not getting paid, and I'm running about from Cambridge to Dover to Birmingham to here and there, up to Scotland to Dundee United, and paying for this out of my pocket with no income at the minute. So I've got in my head that you're just running about trying to stay in England because everybody knows how good you were, or everybody's expecting you to go and play. So you've got that expectation. You don't want to let people down. But then again, it started to drain on me, and I was just hating it. I was going to a conference club and all, and I was going to myself, this isn't even worth it.
Yeah.
This really wasn't worth it. So I'd rang my ma, and then the scout, the Aston Villa scout from down south, Anthony, had rang me and said that his friend was a Galway manager and he needed a centre midfielder. So I'd looked him up. I think Galway were sitting in the relegation zone, and I went, I could get a really good load of games here. Spoke to a manager, and I was in England on the Friday in Essex, and Monday morning I'd signed for Galway. So I got on the flight on Saturday, got all my stuff, drove down to Galway on Sunday night, and I signed the contract on Monday morning. That was the deadline day, and I haven't looked back since. It was the best decision I've ever made.
Do you think so? You're not sort of got it on the flight coming home, where sort of like, this is the dream's over sort of thing, or what way did you take it?
I know, excited, new challenge, first team football. I was saying to myself, like, I was all in my head. I wonder what people are going to write about me here. Going, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. I bit the bullet, and me, my mum and dad, we drove down to Galway. We got the contract signed, and then I was starting on the Friday against Dundalk in the semi-final of the League Cup, and that was my first game for Galway. And honestly, I haven't looked back since. It was the best decision I've ever made.
Dundalk have some team, especially at that time too. They get in their group stages and all, the Europa League and stuff.
Unbelievable. You had the first game, hadn't played months, and I was up against Patrick McElhinney, Robbie Benson, and Stevie O'Donnell, probably the three best midfielders the league's ever seen. Like, so I got the run around for 45 minutes, and then I blew up.
Are you full time at Galway when you say they're full time, aren't they?
Aye, full time. I think the only team that's not full time down there is Bohemians. Right. They train like night times, but full time, unbelievable setup. One of the best places I've ever been. I was just gutted the way it ended. If they didn't get relegated that season, I'd 100% stayed down there.
Yeah.
Just the manager, the club, the place, everything, brilliant.
You lived down there for the few months that it was?
Aye, they set you up in a gaff and all, and then you get your lunch and all at the club. And absolutely brilliant, unbelievable club.
So, as I say, they get relegated, then Derry City come in. How's that materialise with Derry?
So I'd played again. We actually beat Derry when I played for Galway, and the way they played football was amazing under Kenny Shields.
Yeah.
And I'd actually wanted to play football but live at home, try that type of thing. So I was actually really close to signing for Dundalk because Shane Keegan, the Galway manager, had rang me and said that Robbie Benson was going to St Johnson.
Right.
and they need a centre midfielder, and they loved you in the last game. So I was like, great, Dundalk, Jesus, best team in the league. Okay. And then I'd spoke to Kenny Shields, and he said, listen, this is what I've got planned for you. You'll be playing in every single game and all. And I went, that's brilliant. But Dundalk are after me, like, do you take the risk?
Yeah.
So the day I bit the bullet and I signed for Derry, and the next day Robbie Benson had signed a new contract with Dundalk, and he wasn't going to St Johnson. So it's just mad the way things work out, like.
Yeah, just that wee bit of insight, like.
Oh,
What's Kenny Shields like?
Absolute madman, but one of the best coaches ever. Like, he is just 100% football.
Yeah.
Nothing less than 100% you get with Kenny. Like, I remember we'd be coming into a Brandywell at 9:30 in the morning. There he is carrying 2 nets on the pitch by himself and all. He's there from 7 o'clock setting up the pitches. Brilliant. Absolutely amazing. Just complete football.
So you actually end up like you're sort of hit and miss in the league. You're mid-table with Derry, but just have a good run on the cup. Get the cup final against Cove Ramblers. Is that the Brandywell, isn't it? The cup final.
Aye.
You just beat them 3-1. Do you remember much about that game?
Aye, unbelievable. That's probably been the best game ever because it was my first trophy. It was my first winners medal. Our Ronan got the first goal, so even bigger for the family, like, and packed out. No, I've never seen the Brandywell that packed. Like, it was, you couldn't get a ticket. Like, it was sold out about a week before.
Brilliant.
Even the Cove Ramblers fans, they had a 7-hour journey, and they sold out the whole away end and all. Like, unbelievable day. But the league was disappointing. I think we were joint top of the league with Dundalk after 15 games. So we had went on an 11-game unbeaten run.
Yeah.
We lost big Ronan Curtis to Portsmouth. That was a big blow. Yeah. I think Portsmouth bought him for about 100 grand. So he was a big blow. And then we had lost Rory Patterson. Rory Patterson went to a cruise.
Yeah.
We had lost Nicky Lowe, quality player. He had to get an operation. We had lost Conor McDermott, who had to get an operation. He's flying for Climble at the minute. So we had lost five solid starters out of our team there. And then there was players coming in who were young players who haven't had much game time. So we'd on a shocking run in the league. I think we won 2 games out of the last 15 games. So that put a real dampener on it. So who knows what could have happened. But like you say, it is football.
Yeah. And your big mate lifts a trophy. He's at the cruise now.
I think,
Right. Where are we? So what happens at Derry after? Was it only a 1 or 2 year deal, or?
So down south, unless you're signing for Dundalk or Shamrock Rovers, clubs are only going to offer you a 1-year contract because they can only afford to pay you is it 42 weeks, 42 or 38 weeks. So you're only getting paid for the playing season. You're not getting paid in the off season. So we had a really bad end of the season, and it was just never knew if Kenny was going to be out. Kenny was out of contract as well, and they'd offered me a good deal. They offered me a good deal, and I loved it at Derry. But the Crews had come in and offered me a 52-week contract, living at home, and it was, you just couldn't turn it down. It was too much of a good deal to turn down, and I wanted a different challenge after a couple of years in the League of Ireland, and I wanted to see what the Irish League was like. And I was seeing a lot of players getting moves, good young players, and there seems to be more coverage in the Northern Irish League. So I thought I would give it a try, and I signed a long-term contract with a Cruise League. So that's where we're at now.
You go down and meet Baxter and stuff, and
Matt
Baxter happens?
Matt Baxter at Stormont, and like he said, he was just telling the vision of the club, what way the club have come from and where they are now, and what they've got planned for the next 5 to 10 years with a full-time setup and all. So everything he said at the minute is coming right. The new gym and all's built, and trying to get the changing rooms done up. So everything going good so far.
So is there your full-time on Cruise in at the minute?
Well, 3/4 full-time they call it, but I would basically be down there every day anyway.
And is there many players? Because obviously are still people part-time with their daily jobs, and so how many of you is there? 3/4.
So
part-time?
3/4 would be about 8 of us, which isn't too bad for starting straight up. So you're aiming to get think that we're aiming to get young players in at the minute to try and build us into the full time, so we can get a full squad as a full time team. There's about 8 of us at the minute, and then there's still some of the boys who would come in and then go straight back to work after they do the training. Like, so we would do Monday night. That's for everybody. So Monday and Thursday nights is for everybody, and then the Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning sessions are for the 3/4. So it's a good reschedule. I like it.
It's hard, but it'd be hard to get boys to transition, because especially the ones who are part time, they're going to have to take a pay cut because the crew's wage and their own wage, and the crews probably couldn't afford to supplement both. Like, obviously.
No, definitely not, because our players, like you say, are on the 52-week contracts, and what they're getting off work is probably their main source of income. Like, so the crews would have to go way over their budget to keep everybody happy. Like,
so at the cruise, County Antrim Shield's the first sort of trophy is when we involved in that game.
I started that game and got hooked off at half time. The weather was insane. I mean, the game should never have went ahead. Should have been called off.
It was a storm. It was a storm. Something, wasn't it?
It got called off 3 times. It was meant to be at the Ballymena Showgrounds 3 times, and then there was a coin toss. They said it was at Seaview, and the storm was mental. And we were 3-1 down. I think I had 2 touches, and we were against the wind the first half. 3-1 down, hooked at half time. Didn't get a touch second half, ended up winning 4-3. Best decision he made.
And there's also when the Irish got the unused sub again, or not again, just unused sub. Were you got it because you played well in the semis? Seen a few clips stuff.
I was absolutely raging. I was fuming. I don't know what happened, because at the end of the season I just wasn't getting on, and I couldn't believe it. Like, I was just like, what is actually going on here? But we had a good discussion at the end of the season on what the plans were going forward, because it weren't the plans that were made to me at the start.
Right.
So going forward, I was like, right, I'll work harder here. I'll make sure he has no reason not to play me. And I started pre-season off to a flyer in the Europa League qualifiers over in the Faroe Islands. Like, I got off a really good game, winning out there, and I got a couple of assists. So I got off to a flyer, and I made sure no one was taking my spot from then. Like,
man, you draw Wolves in the round after. What was that like?
Mental, absolutely unreal. It was a team we wanted.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
You want that game. I remember the away game, absolutely unbelievable. Was just seen it was like a big party, fireworks and all flying out everywhere. But the game was, I think it was like 30 degrees that day in England, absolutely roasting. So we weren't allowed to leave the hotel rooms, because if we went outside, you end up dehydrated and all that type of stuff. And I remember before the game, the referee was saying, if the temperature goes under 25 degrees, there'll be no water break after 25 minutes. So we're like, right, we'll try and keep it nearly here to 25 minutes. So I'm looking at the clock, it was like 22 minutes, choking for a drink, couldn't breathe. Referee, 27 minutes. I go, when's this water break? And he goes, it's 19 degrees now, we're not getting it. Couldn't believe it. Absolutely sweating, blowing, couldn't breathe, chasing after Ruben Neves, João Moutinho, and there's no water break.
Unbelievable. That's class. Fuck me. So, as I say, you sort of, again in the league this year, it's very, very tight, but Linfield are starting to creep on. What would you like to happen this year?
You can't like it's Celtic. They've been given the league. Everyone knows I'm a Celtic man, like, so it was top of the league. I think the same's going to happen with Prem if that doesn't go back Liverpool. But you're hard done by if you're Coleraine. I think they're on course for a treble. Like, you'd be really hard done by, because the split, anything can happen in the split. You have 5 tough games.
Big games.
Anything can happen. Points be taken off anybody. You're chasing for Europe, so every game counts. I think it will be harsh on Coleraine, but I think the outcome of the league is going to be, it's the way it's settled at the minute. I think that's the way it's going to be. And I heard that they're going to try and split the European money between all the clubs to keep them afloat, give them a bit of bonus, like. But I think Linfield will end up getting the league, like, on merit.
Yeah. Well, sure, we'll see. Only time will tell. So,
Mm.
how would you look back so far? I know you're still young, but how would you look back in your career so far, Rory?
A lot of mistakes, but like I say, I wouldn't change anything that I've done. You know, I remember like as a first and second year scholarships, I wish that I'd done everything right. You know, like you love a wee drink on the weekend, and you love you don't really want to put in the extra hours because you're not there yet.
Yeah.
If you're in the first team, you're like I do it now at the cruise. Like I would work 2 or 3 extra sessions a week now in gym, but I wasn't doing that when I was 16, 17. And I wish I had somebody who would tell me that you need to do it, because you don't get that here in Belfast. You don't get someone who's been there and they're telling you that you need to do this to get to that level.
It's a whole different, like, especially even if there was people 10, 15 years ago across in England, the whole setup's changed now, especially with like strength and conditioning. You're more an athlete now than you ever were, sort of, in football, like.
You're already trying to play catch up when you get over to England with the training and your fitness, your technical ability, because there was players there who were a million times. Some of their left foots were better than my right foot, like. So you're already putting in the hours to try and work on your technical ability. Yeah, you have to work on your fitness and in your strength. And players like myself, I don't really put weight on. It's hard for me to put weight on. So you have to find something else that can benefit you. So I was trying to do loads and loads of core to just try and build your strength up. But like I say, I wish I had someone back in the day when I was first moving over who was saying you need to do this when you first move over, not when you're up there. Like,
yeah. Do you think that's because a lot of people in the likes, obviously you come through a Villa, they're in the academy from no age? Do you know what I mean? Do you think that's part and parcel of you trying to play catch up?
Oh, it's 1,000,000%. Like, I remember doing an interview with Stephen Looney at the start of the season, and I was telling him that when I went over, it was catch up on all parts, but that's because over here we don't have a full-time academy. We don't have a set up for underage people who train 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week from the age of 12, 13. So they're built into it. They're built into doing 2 gym sessions. It's hard to do it here. I know the club NI are doing it, which is really, really good, but like I say, if you're someone from Derry and you're in that club NI and you have to travel to Belfast probably 2 nights a week and in your own training, it's a lot for everybody to do. So
especially as a kid, like, it's hard on the mas and dads and stuff trying to keep up.
It is hard. I can remember when we were doing it, my mum was driving to Cookstown on a Wednesday night and then Jordantown on a Thursday night, and while trying to get us ready for school and our own stuff and all, like, so it is really hard.
And it's a risk too, because what is it? I watched a documentary and it was like 0.1% of people actually make a living out of football who are playing. It's madness, like.
It's absolutely mental. It's more or less it's like impossible, like.
I know.
It's really a tough job, but that's why we love it.
That's exactly. So what's the future plans? Rest of playing career and after a playing career, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I just seen on Facebook I've started up my own wee there's a wee top. Oh, sorry. So I've started up my own wee coaching business. One-to-one coaching and group coaching. Basically, I've done my badges. What I'm up to now, I'm applying for my UFAB. I've done my level 2 and level 3 fitness instructor and personal training courses. Right. And then I've done a bit of the past 6 months. I've been doing the primary school coaching. So I just thought I'd be more used to doing one-to-one coaching because I've been doing it myself for the past 2 to 3 years and getting really good at it. Yeah. So I've been learning a lot. Football terms, the dream's still there in my head that they get back, but you have to be a bit realistic. I'm 24 here in November, so I'd say I've got another year, maybe 6 months when the football starts back to get a move if that happens. Yeah. I thought I was having the best season of my life this season.
Yeah.
Up until November, we were top of the league. We had only lost 1 game all season. I was playing the best football I've ever played, and then I do my knee in a 50-50 challenge. So I sit back and reflect, and I'm like, right, I need something else here in case this doesn't work out, because time waits for nobody. So I've bit the bullet. I've started my own wee coaching thing. So I've got something in plan in case the football doesn't work out.
That's the first step, you know what I mean? That's
So,
good. Brilliant, mate. Fair play to you. Just a wee quick quiz to finish off.
let's do it.
So, best and worst. So, best finisher.
Right, I'll do the cruise because I'm out at the minute.
Right.
Best finisher, Jamie McGonigal by a mile.
Is it?
Oh, he can finish.
Worst finisher.
Worst finisher. Oh. I'll go Chris Haggerty.
Best touch.
Best touch. Can't say myself, no.
Well, you can say yourself.
I'm only joking. Jody for safe.
Yeah.
Very good touch.
Worst touch.
I'll go with Hard Beverlin. Aye. Fittest Daddy Cadell.
Is it?
Mental. Man has 6 lungs.
Unreal. Fattest.
Unbelievable. Fattest. Oh. Not many fat. I'd go by Kyle Owens. Loves a beer.
I'm head on him too. Quickest.
Quickest. It's a tough one. Either Paul Heatley or Jamie McGonigal. Once Jamie McGonigal gets going, he is. He's rapid once he gets going, but Heat's off a quicker mark. Off
the mark. He's slowest.
Oh, that could be me. Only joking. Slowest. Big Chicken. Jordan Owens.
Calmest on the pitch.
Calmest on the pitch. Sean Ward by a mile.
And who's a maniac?
Maniac. They say I'm a maniac on the pitch, but let's think. Daddy Cadell's nuts. Big Chicken's nuts as well.
Yeah.
I'll go Daddy Cadell.
Yeah. And there's no worse fish. Just who's the best talker?
Best talker, as on the pitch or just talking shit?
No. You take a home, but on the pitch.
On the pitch, Jared Doherty. Unbelievable to play in front of him. Like, he just tells you what to do, when to do it. Yeah. Unbelievable. Brilliant. Great pro.
Good man, Rory. Well, thank you. That was it. That's a wee quick one today. Just appreciate you coming on.
Legend, Nigel.
No bar. I'll speak to you later. Good man.
Classmate.
Good luck.